Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest album from Wednesday 13, Necrophaze, out September 27th on Nuclear Blast. This album has 12 tracks, 41 minutes in length, and this is his 8th full-length studio album. Alright, let me start by saying this. If you're like me and you're always looking for the perfect soundtrack to your Halloween day, either if you're having a party or you're just giving out candies, look no further. This album is the perfect soundtrack for Halloween. It's coming out September 27th. The holiday is just around the corner. Pick up this record. You're not going to regret it. It's going to be your perfect soundtrack for that evening, for that day, for your party, for whatever the occasion might be. It really has that theme of that day. It's just, it just has the fragrance of Halloween. Overall, when I look at this album, in my opinion, is perfect. Now, you may disagree with me. You may not like the sound. You might not like the vocals. You might not like the style. Maybe the music is not your cup of tea. All of these things are subjective to each individual taste. We all have our own tastes. We all have our own ideas and opinions, and we have our own personal baggage that then influences those tastes. When I look at this record, or when I look at any record, I try to look at it from a very objective perspective. I try to look at certain boxes that in my mind I have to check in order for the album to meet certain requirements. This album checks all the boxes as far as I'm concerned. When you start looking at the overall structure of the record, you look at things, for example, like the opening track having a built-in intro. You're looking at bridge tracks that really allow songs to interconnect and allow the record to be bridged between two portions of the album, and perfectly done with like spoken word that just really fits into the whole mood and atmosphere that the record has. You're looking at the closing track and how it finishes off, really wrapping up the album. So everything about the overall structure, everything about the feel, the mood, the atmosphere of the record, in my opinion, like I said, perfect, checks all the boxes. Musically, there is definitely a consistency to this album. There is some changes from song to song, but they're very small changes. There are changes on the parameters around the song, not necessarily to the songs themselves. This allows the songs to feel very interconnected, but not feel repetitive. Not feel like if you heard one, the second one sounds exactly the same, because it won't sound the same. It'll have some of the same parameters, some of the same attributes, but in the way they come across, the way they're put together, each track still feels very independent and at the same time still feels very interconnected. Lyrically, the album is really consistent as well. It's really consistent of the overall theme of horror movies, serial killers, personal stories, like horror movies from the 80s or horror series from the 80s. It has a lot of that 80s vibe to it. So that is another element that really brings togetherness to the record. It allows the record to be very concise. It allows the record to be very sinister in vibe because of obviously the theme that runs across the whole album. But the fact that you grab different elements, either be a horror movie or a personal story or a serial killer. There's a song about Zodiac, the Zodiac killer. So all of these elements give uniqueness to each single song, but at the same time, throwing this blanket of fog, of horror fog, all over the whole record that really ties the whole album and makes it very robust, very concise. This is also the first record from Wednesday 13 that had planned and performed guest spots on it. So Alice Cooper, he did some guest vocals on Necrophaze. Christina Scabia from Lacuna Coil on Monster. Jeff Clayton, he did this spoken word bridge track called Be Warned. Really cool. It really ties in the first half of the record with the second half of the record. Alex Leho from Children of Bodom, he did also some guest vocals on Animal, which is the last track on the album. Really powerful closing track. So as you can see, even from that perspective, with all these guest appearances, another different dynamic is added to the overall sound, the overall vocals, the overall feel that this record really has to offer. This album, in my opinion, is absolutely filled with gems and is magnificently crafted top to bottom. I really could not find one single element on this record that I felt that didn't belong there or could have been done better. It's really a well-crafted record, and that from that perspective is why I said it was perfect, because in my opinion, it checked all the boxes. As far as songs are concerned, I have to start off with Zodiac. I'm a big fan. I don't know if fan is the right word, but I really enjoy watching documentaries about serial killers, and the Zodiac killer has always been one that really interested me because they never found who he was. They still believe there's some unsolved crimes that were committed by him. Nobody knows what the motives were. So there's a lot of things surrounding the Zodiac killer that always piqued my interest. So the moment I'm listening to this album and there's a song dedicated to the Zodiac killer, and it's like in the first person, immediately that song piqued my interest. I had to pick that song. I had to tell you guys about that song because it's just something that really captivates me. The whole story behind that serial killer really captivates me. So I really love the heavy bass presence on this song. It gives overall heaviness to the track, and it almost feels like you're in the boots of the Zodiac killer. If you're familiar with the story, he was known to wear like military style boots. So the way the bass, the heaviness that the bass gives to the song, it almost feels like his footsteps as he's walking towards a crime that he's going to commit. So I really like that feel. It really allows the sound of the song to really match the story of the lyrics and its heaviness and its darkness that it has. It has a really somber melody as well, mixed into the chorus. And then when you add the vocals to it, it adds another dark vibe to it. It's really cool. And this is a song where they used real audio from news reports around that time of the Zodiac killer included into the track. That adds even more darkness to the song. It adds even a bigger atmosphere. Actually, the song starts out with a news report, and then that stays on, and it peaks in and out throughout the song. I like that idea because once again it adds atmosphere to the track. It almost feels like you're the Zodiac killer listening to these news reports on the radio, and then you're talking kind of to yourself like in the first person. So I really like the idea of how this song was executed, but I also like the idea behind it. Really cool track. Next one is Monster. This one features Christina Scabbia from Lacuna Coil. I love this track. For as dark as the song is from a lyrical perspective, this is a very upbeat, up-tempo song. I really like almost the party. It almost has a Scooby-Doo party vibe to it. Even though the theme is dark, the way the song comes across, the way it's so catchy and so hooky, contagious with vocal layers in the chorus, which really add to the creepiness that the song has, but at the same time it adds to how hooky the track becomes. I really love this track. One of my absolute favorite songs on this record. I just love everything about it. I love how you can have such a dark theme song and still feel like this track could be in a Scooby-Doo cartoon at the same time. I like that combination because, you know, it also works well with Scooby-Doo because of, you know, the whole crime solving and mystery and that kind of stuff. So it has a little bit of that. It has a little bit of that you know, that cartoon feelish to it, but still talking about a dark theme. And Christina Scabbia's vocals add a different layer, a different dimension to this track. The solo itself, I also felt was very concise and it falls in line with the rest of the song. I love that. It was a solo that didn't break the song into two, that just really allowed the song to continue, and it had the same similar elements that the rest of the song had in terms of darkness, the dark vibe that it had, and the melody that it gave to the track. Last but not least, Life Will Kill Us All. Isn't that the truth? You know, the days that we live today, don't we feel like life itself is going to end up killing us all? I really feel that way. So I really like this track as well, not just from that perspective, but I like this track because it's a track that has a very pure rock and roll bass to it, both musically and then from the overall structure that the song has. The chorus, like almost every single chorus on this album, on every song on this album, is very hooking, very catchy. I believe one of the reasons for this specific song to be that hooking, catchy in the chorus is the fact that the chorus gets repeated a lot. So the fact it gets repeated a lot, you become familiar with it, your ears become accustomed to it, and then it becomes a earworm of a track. I really like that. The song, in my opinion, is very simple, has a very simple structure. It has a clear change between verses and chorus. The two merge very well together, but there is definitely a clear change between those two portions of the song. But overall, it's a song that has a great fluidity, that it's simple and yet effective in its approach. I love this track. Very earwormy, very catchy. Perhaps a song, like I said, perfect for your Halloween party, as every single song on this record is perfect for a Halloween party. Alright guys, this is it. This is Wednesday 13, Necrophaze out September 27 on Nuclear Blast. Let me know your thoughts on the album, on the songs, on the singles that have been released. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those as always and getting back to you. Take care guys.